I'm gonna do a quick product review because this might be useful for other people who haul fifth wheel campers. I've had 3 fifth wheels over the years. They've all been big, triple axle, 40-foot plus long toy haulers. And when I got my first one, it was an '09 used. I tried a gooseneck adapter on it because, I already have gooseneck hitch in my truck and did not have to lug a fifth wheel hitch in and out. Would have been nice. Tried it on that camper. It was one of them bolt-on ones and did not pull well. It made the whole pin box like flex like crazy and made it all jump around and made it tow horribly, which is probably why back then most campers companies would void your warranty if you even tried to use those because it flexed the frame out in a way that would damage it. So I got rid of it, went to a conventional fifth wheel, lugging a 150-pound hitch in and out of my truck every time I had to go use the camper. I did that for my last 2 fifth wheels, but when I got this new one here, this is a Alliance Valor. It's like 44.5 feet long, big giant beast. I wanted to try something different. I asked some questions for the salesman and stuff whenever I was looking at them, and I asked them about gooseneck adapters because I know they're becoming a lot more popular. And I had heard that a lot of these manufacturers now will not void your warranty if you use a good gooseneck adapter, usually Reese. They want you to use Reese because it's owned by, or Lippert is owned by Reese, and Lippert is who builds these frames and the stuff for these campers. But most of them will accept the Gen Y adapter as well. So the main reason I wanted to do this compared to a fifth wheel hitch is, I use my truck for work all week, right? And the back of my truck usually looks something like this, oil containers, shovels, etc., etc. So every time we'd go away for the weekend, I'd come home and I'd have to empty all this stuff out of here and then put the 150-pound fifth wheel hitch in, do all that, go for the weekend, come back on Sunday night, pull the 150-pound fifth wheel hitch back out, put all my stuff back in here. So it was always a hassle. That's why I always wanted the gooseneck adapter. So with this camper, I decided to try this Gen Y gooseneck adapter. It's got the torsion built into it, and it replaces the whole pin box. Obviously, it bolts up to the main frame. They're specific to whatever kind of frame you have. This one happens to be a Lippert Rhino setup, which is very common now. But there's a couple other different ones out there. Not all the bolt patterns are the same. But it just goes through a 2 5/16 gooseneck ball. Has a little torsion here for suspension. Has the auto latch with the cable back there to pull. And there are some downsides to it. I mean, you do have to hook the safety chains up. In Florida, you have to have safety chains on a gooseneck, which is silly, but you do. So, trying to hook up those safety chains while it's hooked up can be a bit of a pain. You got to kind of reach in there and get them. But again, compared to lugging the fifth wheel hitch in and out, it's a pretty small thing. But it pulls great. Like, it's the best pulling fifth wheel I've ever had. We just went down to River Ranch for the weekend, 2-hour drive, bad roads, and it pulled great. Didn't buck the truck. You could see it kind of moving independently from the truck because of the suspension on the gooseneck. It was the best pulling fifth wheel I've ever had, for sure. The other downside to it is it doesn't have a lot of height adjustment. I mean, I suppose you could probably, drop the whole thing down and just not use the top 2 bolt holes because, even if you only had 10 bolts, these are 5/8 grade 8 bolts, it would still be fine. So you could gain some more height from it. Because I didn't quite like the bed rail clearance I had. I only had maybe 4.5 inches of bed rail clearance. So my answer to get around that was I just got Reese makes a turnover ball, 2 5/16 turnover ball. See how it's got a little space on the bottom of it? It's like 1.5 inches taller than the regular Ford ball. So I ordered that, put that in there, and now I've got like 6.5 inches of bed rail clearance. So I don't have to worry about that. So definitely works good. Not for everybody. If literally all you use your truck for is pulling a fifth wheel camper, then you don't have this issue. But if you're like me, you're using it for everything and you don't want to deal with all the hitch and everything, it's a pretty good way to go. So look into it.